Hello and welcome back. In this video, my goal is to just take you through the nuts and bolts of our class website, and so that you kind of know where everything is. We won't necessarily go into great detail in some of the areas, but you'll at least kind of get a lay of the land and understand where you can find everything. So first thing to note is that my class is not going to use Canvas. So you may have gotten onto Canvas and seen some of seen a page that I set up that is getting you started here today. But after that, you don't need to use Canvas anymore for my class. So what you will do is get on the internet and go to a website called WAMAP. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you here. All right. And so to get to WAMAP, nice easy web address, www.wamap.org, and it'll take you to a page like this. Now, if you've never seen a page like this before in your life, then that means you probably haven't used WAMAP in one of your previous math classes. And if that's the case for you, what you're going to do is go to this link here, which is to register as a new student. And you'll put in, username, password that you want, your personal information here. And then down here, you can put in the course ID and enrollment key for my class. And I gave you this information in the email or on Canvas, but here it is again. The course ID is 26100, and the enrollment key is Lewis, L-E-W-I-S. And by the way, if you've already done this step, hang with me in the video here, because there will be some things that go beyond what you've probably already done, and it's important information. But then you'd click sign up, and not only would you have an account, but you would also be automatically put into my class. Now, if you have used WAMAP before, and you can either remember your username and password, or maybe you can click on these links to retrieve one of them. In that case, what you can do is just go ahead and put in the username and password that you used in the past. You can log in, and you won't automatically see this here. This is the link to our course. If you didn't see this, then you would go ahead and click on enroll in a new class, and then you can see this is the same text boxes as that last screen, where we can type in the course ID and the enrollment key and sign up for the class that way. But either way, once you get this link up here, you can click on that and get to our class website. So first of all, on the left side here, there's kind of two main things I want to emphasize. First is the messages link up here. So this is where you can read messages that I send you or send me a message. You're welcome to use my YBC email, but the messaging system is going to probably be more convenient for you, and I'll probably answer this a little faster even. So I would suggest using this to communicate with me. One little thing I want to point out is if you see a little red number next to this messages link, it is imperative that you read that message right away. So in an online class, you can't count on seeing me the next day to get information I'm trying to convey, right? This is my way of communicating with you here. So any little red number here, read it right away. Please be in the habit of checking at least once a day to see if you have any messages, even if you are ahead of the game and don't have a reason to get on the website in terms of having things due on a particular day. Still just get on here real fast and check to see if I've sent any messages to you. And then of course, if I click on this, you can send me messages, right? So, one of the things that I am really committed to is just really helping all my students get through this challenging time. So, for example, if you have sick kids at home and there's no way you're going to meet a deadline, then I want to hear about that, right? And so you can send me a message here, asking for an extension, right? That sort of thing. So I want you to be keeping that line of communication open with me. Don't assume that something's out of bounds. The worst that can happen is I can say no to a particular exception that you're asking for. But if it's at all feasible, I want to try to do that for you, because we're all kind of juggling a lot of things right now. So use this messaging system. Always be checking for that little red number there and reading those messages. And the other thing is the gradebook link. I'm not going to go into this right now. I will go into there when I discuss how the grading works in another video. But there it is. You'll be using that a lot. Then up at the top here, important Zoom information. Okay, so this gives some information about various Zoom meetings that you're going to want to use, and I will again go over this in another video. But it's right here at the top. You'll be using these links a lot, so that's why I put it first. Math 142 forum. Okay, this is where we're going to have a little assignment that you're going to do for starters that I'll go into in a future video. But this is also where homework questions are going to get asked online, and where I'm going to answer them, and where, if you'd like, you can answer for your classmates as well. I'll go into that into detail in a little bit, but that's where you'll find our forum. Then is our schedule. Okay, so this is something that you need to be checking daily to see what it is that needs to happen each day. And so you'll see that, for Monday here, there's 2 things that you have to do. Watch introductory videos and complete the forum post assignment. But here's the pattern that you'll see most days, and I'm going to use Wednesday as an example. So what you're going to find is the time of our voluntary Zoom meeting. Okay, I say voluntary, you're not required to come to this. Of the office hour that I'm holding. And then these 2 down here, you're going to have a to-do section, which tells you the assignment that you should be working on at that point, and then what is due before midnight. Now, the general pattern is the thing that's due before midnight on a particular day is the thing that I asked you to do the day before. So the idea is, the to-do is you want to do that assignment to the best of your abilities, and then if you have questions that you couldn't quite answer completely, then that's when you're reaching out to me for help. And so, and then you can get those questions answered, and then it's not due until that next day before midnight. So you always if you stick to this schedule, you'll get into a really solid pattern of, always having time to get your homework done. So that's the general pattern for the schedule. So check that each day. Then here we have the textbook. I sent everyone an email to this effect that you don't need a hard copy of the textbook. So here's where you go to get an electronic copy of it. So just click on this and then click on PDF. Then there's the textbook right there. And if you're happy having just a PDF version, it's completely free. All right, now the notes. The notes take a little bit of explanation here. So here's the full set of notes, and then I also broke it down into chunks here. And so let me click on this. There's a couple of things to kind of set the stage here. Number one, you'll notice this language of standards. So it says standard 1 up here at the top. Okay, what's that all about? A standard is essentially just a topic. You could substitute the word topic for it. So it's topic number 1. And what I've done is I've broken the course into 23 different standards, or 23 different topics. And I organize the notes based on that. It also tells you what section of the book it's coming from up at the top here. And then in that first video, you heard me describe the whole idea of a rubric. So here's the rubric for how I am going to be grading the work that you do on standard 1. And it's got a description of what it means to be at each of these levels here. And the last thing I just want to point out in the notes is that you got this odd thing here that says section 5.2 video notes. All right. Then if I scroll through here, you'll notice that there's example problems and then there's blank space. So what I'm doing here is I'm giving you the examples that we're going to cover, but then there's this blank space here for you to put the solutions. So ideally what you'll be doing is if you have access to a printer, print this entire thing out. I think you'll find the class just a lot easier to kind of navigate if you are able to get this thing all printed out ahead of time. If you can't get access to a printer, you can always just take notes on notebook paper, but then have this open in front of you so that you can, see what it is that, the notes that you're taking, what it goes with in my original set of notes. So you're filling this out as you go based on a video, and I'll show you where that is in a moment. All right, so here you go. These are all the standard one video notes. Then you'll notice something kind of interesting here, okay? So now it talks about standards 2 and 3, and then it says class notes. Okay, so what's that all about? Well, I guess a fair explanation for that might be that I'm a little bit lazy. So, I've taught this class many times in person, of course. And so this whole idea of video notes and class notes are when I am teaching the class in person. The video notes are things students are supposed to do on their own at home, and class notes are what they're supposed to do in class with me. And I basically just kept that language. However, know that there will be videos for this as well. So there's going to be videos for everything in the notes. So don't let the whole business of video notes and class notes throw you off. That's a relic of when I was teaching it in person. Besides laziness, there is a good reason for me to keep that language, and that is this. Class notes tend to be the kind of stuff that's maybe a little more challenging. And it's also the kind of stuff that if we were in class, I would be asking you to think about a lot. So I might break you into groups and say, hey, I want you to think about this question. I'm not just going to give you the answer. I want you to think about it. So whenever you're in the class notes, I really, really encourage you to pause the videos often and maybe try things yourself before you get my solution. But ultimately, there will be videos for everything in notes, regardless of how it's labeled. All right, so that's notes. Like I said, these here are just all here, so you don't have to print out everything. You either print this out or print these out in smaller chunks. All right, here's of course the syllabus. The syllabus is going to cover in writing a lot of the things that I'm putting in the videos, but please do read through it and let me know if you have any questions. Here's the rubrics that I talked about. So you saw my example of a rubric from the standard one, the very beginning of the notes, but excuse me, this is the rubrics for everything. I can click on it here and you can see, right? So every single standard, every single topic has its own rubric that describes what it means to be not yet, a novice, developing, proficient, or an expert in that particular area. Here is the document where it talks about bookwork for reassessment. So remember what I said in the introductory video, that how does life really work? If you don't quite pass something, you have more work to do, but you get an opportunity to basically bring your grade, bring your score up, get a chance to pass it later. So bookwork for reassessments are going to be an important element of that. So I'm not going to click on this now. I'm going to wait for a future video, but just know that that's there. Polar graphs. And then finally, there's a grading calculator here. And this is nice because the grading in this class is a little non-traditional, like I said. So the grade calculator will help you kind of know where you stand at any given point. All right, and then down here are the assignments, and I've broken those down by the standards that they cover. And this is also incidentally how the tests will go. So basically, once you finish all these assignments, you'll test on standards 1 through 5. So that's how they're organized. Let me show you what assignments look like. So I'm going to take the standard 3 video notes and questions. I'm going to click on that one. So what I would do is in my notes, I would turn to standard 3 video notes, the standard 3 video notes, and open to that spot in my notes and have that at the ready. Then I click on this and there's a video. And this video corresponds exactly to the notes that I was just showing you. And so you first play this. Okay, and I need to turn the volume up. You probably can't even quite hear it. But the important thing is you go ahead and play it. And then there's a series of questions for you to answer. Now, when you answer these questions, you are going to have the opportunity to try it as many times as you need to. So on this first one, let's say I put an answer of 1. And when I submit the question, it tells me I'm wrong. And it allows me to retry it once, okay? So I might, make a correction and say, well, okay, let me try the answer of 3, see if that works better. And it didn't work very well, okay? Now at this point, if I try to click here, notice it's not gonna let me. So it's only gonna give me 2 tries on a particular one. But now at this point, notice this little key pops up. So I can click on that and I can see the actual answer. So hopefully from there, I can figure out what it is I was doing wrong. And then once I figure that out, I can click on this button that says, get a similar question. And notice same type of question, but the numbers have changed. And so then I can go ahead and proceed from there. And then if I give the right answer here, then it highlights it in green and I know I'm good to go. So try it as many times as you need to. So you get 2 attempts per question, but then after those 2 attempts, you can regenerate a completely new problem that you can do and still get the full points. So there's no limit to how much you can do that. So you just go through and answer all these questions. Sometimes another video will pop up midway through. So that would be where I'm going through the notes and then I stop at a certain point and then pick things up again later. So if another video pops up within the string of questions, make sure you watch that and fill in your notes as well. And then that's it. So you just start doing all these questions until you have 100%. Now these assignments do have hard due dates. If you miss a due date, you can still do the assignment. You click on use a late pass. Now in my class, if you use a late pass, the default is that you only get half points, right? Because I really want you to stay up to date, not because it makes a huge difference to me, but because I know that that's really important for just being successful in this class. So, so you click on use late pass and, but let me just say this though, if you have a situation where it's like, I didn't, it's not because I decided to sleep 16 hours and that's why I didn't do the assignment, but like you had something come up, then I want to give you an exception so that you don't even have to lose any points at all, okay? So if you're like, yeah, I should have done my assignment, I just didn't, then click on use late pass. If you have something that came up that prevented you from getting the assignment done, then I would rather you contact me and then I can override that point deduction. The one other thing you should be aware of is that, let me just click on this one here. There will be times where I'll want you to do book work as well. And if that's the case, it'll look like this. So first of all, here's the assignment itself. So you're being asked to do section 8.1, numbers 2, 4, 8, and 12, so on. So you do all these problems from the textbook. And then in this case, these are even problems. And so, the whole point of this homework is so that you make sure that you are feeling good about the material you've learned. So I go ahead and I put the solutions here as well so that you can check your work when you're, when you're finished. So, so that's what that's all about. Now, what I do want you to do is I do want you to turn it into me. this work. So what you're going to do is you're going to be doing this all on notebook paper. Then you're going to click here, and you're going to see this funny looking question here. And basically what this is it's just a place to attach pictures of your work. So there's two ways that students like to do this. One is there's apps out there that will take all the pictures that you snap with your cell phone and put it into one single PDF document. And if you have that app, then you can just attach that PDF to this page one here, and then all the rest of them will be blank. Okay. However, I'm also totally fine if you just want to attach pictures one at a time. So what you can do is just take your cell phone, snap all the pictures, and then log into WAMAP with your cell phone. And WAMAP works nicely with cell phones. So log in with your cell phone, go into this assignment here, and then just attach a page at a time. So, you know, like, let's see, if I go and I just grab a picture. So there's a picture. And then I can grab another picture. So just pretend this is my phone instead, right? And so I can attach all these images here, as many as I need to attach all the parts of the assignment. And then I just go down and here, submit, and hit submit question. Okay, and once I've submitted it, you can even see it, right? So, so that's how I can grade your work. All right, so always do that anytime you have some sort of a book assignment. And incidentally, that'll also be the procedure you go through after a test. So, and I'll get to that in a different video, but basically you always attach all your work for a test right after you're finished. And then down here are the assessments. If you open it up right now, you will see a lot of assessments, but you can't click on them at this point. So, so that's all going to be down there. And then also there'll be a spot, there's nothing here now, but there's a spot for past assessments. So after a particular assessment or test is done, I will put the key down here so that if you get something wrong, you can see, okay, this is what I should have done. Then the last thing on the course page are the supplemental videos. Okay, what's this? Like I said, I have videos for everything in this class. For all the notes, I've got videos for them. However, sometimes I might not explain things in a way that makes the most sense to you. So if you find that happening, what you can do is come down here. Let's say you're working in chapter 5 and in section 5.4, just the way I was explaining it doesn't make sense. This is another set of videos by someone else that goes along with this book. You could go to section 5.4 and you could watch their videos. Okay, that's just totally optional, but it's just there as a resource for you. All right, so those are the basics of our course page. And so we'll go into some of the details on those items in the next two videos. But for now, if you have any questions, definitely write those down. And if they don't get answered in the next couple of videos, make sure you send those back.